Burnett, thank you. I now want to bring in legal analyst Paul Henderson to talk a little bit more about where we go from here. Paul, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. When it comes to the sentencing, what goes into that as far as what Judge Juan Merchan decides?
Well, there's going to be a lot that he's evaluating. A lot of it is going to be based on the evidence. I will tell you, part of that sentencing is going to be heavily influenced by what prosecutors are going to argue. And I will tell you, you can hear it from me now. This is what I am promising you. I can't imagine a scenario where the prosecution does not ask for custody time. I just don't see it in this case. And yes, I know this is only a Class E felony, and that's the lowest form, and that is an exception. And yes, I know there has not been a criminal history, and that is an exception to get custody. But I believe that the prosecution just has to ask for custody in this case. Donald Trump in this case has shown no remorse. There has been no admission of guilt. And the gag order, I think, is going to be the linchpin in the contemplation of whether or not they ask for custody, because in this case, where there have been so many violations, over 10, that have been a public safety risk for the judge, his family, the prosecution's family, and now very clearly the witnesses. And the thing that stands out to me is the conversation and the diatribe that we've heard today focused on very specific witnesses. Even though he didn't say the name, he did everything else but, that puts those witnesses that testify in court at risk. And there are still other pending court cases to be had with Donald Trump. I think it just opens the door for that to happen. And so what to look for next are the filing of those motions. I think they will be denied. Certainly the motion to throw out the verdict, that's likely to be denied. The appeal is going to go through. I'm not optimistic that the appeal in this appellate court in Manhattan is going to be granted and overturned. I think we're going to move forward directly into the sentencing. And, you know, like we've already talked about, that sentencing is going to take place right before the Republican convention. And I think this conviction is going to overshadow and continue to be a narrative that overshadows the campaign for Donald Trump.
And
these are just facts.
We'll see how it plays out.
About other cases.
We'll see how it plays out on political level. We're actually taking some video here that you might have just seen moments ago. Former President Donald Trump leaving Trump Tower, fist in the air, and then getting into a motorcade and driving away. Paul, we've seen Donald Trump. You talked about this, so mentioned it a bit. I mean, he has attacked by name Juan Merchan almost on a daily level, the judge. He has attacked Juan Merchan's daughter prior to that being an issue when it comes to the gag order. Typically for a judge, how much can maybe a bit of personal animosity and knowing that Donald Trump did that impact the decision of how much prison time or what the sentence will be?
Yeah, you're not going to hear the judge say, "You hurt my feelings." You're not going to hear the judge say that that was offensive to his family. You're never going to hear the judicial officer articulate about his own personal feelings from a defendant, especially in a case like this from Donald Trump, because it opens the door to the appeals that we know are still pending and that are going to be associated with not just this verdict, but with the sentencing as well. Because those are grounds that would invalidate a sentence for a judge to show or reflect bias, even if it's justified. You're never going to hear any of that. But I think you are going to see that in the ruling that comes out from the judge, and the judge can be pretty creative in this case. And we know that the judge has tried other things in the past, everything other than custody, with Donald Trump in the form of those gag order fines. And, you know, I don't think it's nothing that we haven't calculated the fines, fees, and penalties associated with this conviction as well. And all of that is subjectively interpreted. So that's going to be factored in terms of what the judge makes a determination for Donald Trump too. What I'm really looking for is I can't wait to see the pre-sentencing report that Donald Trump has to give that's only going to echo, I believe, the diatribe that we've heard today that is really going to force the judge's hands to say something substantive and to rule in a way and give us a sentence that is commensurate with the violations from the conviction that the jury gave him. So that's what I'm looking forward to, but I don't think you're going to hear any personal sentiment or anything that speaks specifically to the judge's offense or his family's offense on their behalf. That's just not
how
what we're
long,
gonna
though?
hear.
We know that Donald Trump, he's very good at delaying things and stretching things out, appealing and appealing and appealing. So we just keep going on and on and on. How long could this last until things are settled, over, done?
You know, it could be months, but these things can't be appealed too much. They do have deadlines. The judge has been very good about giving us specific deadlines so that we know with certainty when the sentencing is going to take place, when those motions will be filed. I believe this judge, as he has done in the past, when he gets those motions, to dismiss the case, to grant the appeal up to the appellate court, and to have the appellate court review those documents. I don't think we will see some of the shenanigans that we've seen in other jurisdictions to delay those things. You will see swift rulings, and so the course of justice will carry on. That's what I'm predicting. You're not going to see delays associated with this conviction and with this sentencing.
Legal analyst Paul Henderson, thanks for your time.
Thank you.